Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everybody? If you've not been here before, welcome to our channel. My name is Elizabeth, and I am your friendly hillbilly host, and this is Hillbilly Crime. We got a whole bunch of hillbillies in here already. Let's see. Let me go all the way up to the top. Dave Clifton, happy Valentine's Day to all y'all at Hillbilly Crime. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. So we've got an interesting show again tonight. We are going to go through and read Sabrina Adkins' deposition. And let's see, Leanne, happy Valentine's Day to you all. In Australia, it was yesterday, and I got not a thing. Me neither. That's all right. That's all right. Christy says this will be another good one. Yeah, my dog she always waits till right before I go on to go potty. And then she jumps all over the place as soon as my attention is not on her. Man, I cannot wait. I also can't wait to hear Ben's. Tanya, I'm sorry, tell me how to say it. Elizabeth, almost to 10,000 subscribers. This will be a good year. Got your job back, channel taken off. Way to go. Yeah, I had a lot of retraining and stuff I had to do for my job, and I had to renew all my licenses and stuff, so I'm still not there yet, but it's all right. It's coming. Oh, look her. I didn't know if she was going to be able to show up tonight or not, but here she comes. Sweet Tater. We got Sweet Tater here. She's my little mama. We'll let her. There she goes.
Something about my audio there. I don't know what it said.
That's all right. We're already going. Pull your camera down a little bit there, Mommy, where we can
I wanted to show all my pretty instruments.
Oh, okay. Yes, somebody was talking about your dulcimer the other night. Hey, y'all, from cold, snowy Ontario, Canada.
Oh, I'm so sick of snow. I don't have any snow still here at my house, but there's all kinds up towards Neon. I guess maybe there's a higher elevation.
Yeah, well, we had a whole bunch here in Jenkins, too.
It's on the sides of the roads going up your way, but not down towards Waxburg.
Yeah.
I've had an exciting day.
Cold, snowy, northwestern New York.
Ooh.
Jill.
I want to stay right here in Kentucky. Because we're looking for spring.
Yeah. Cinnamon. Hello, Elizabeth Mods and Chatters. We have a great chat. If you want to come and join us, you are more than welcome. We're also covering trials during the day. So we're doing more than just our 7 o'clock show at night. We're also doing daytime trials too. So come join us during the day. Well, let's see. I want to start this off by saying something I'm really grateful for. I'm really grateful for hot water.
Did your hot water go out?
No, I'm just saying I'm really great. Every time I take a shower, it's so cold in this house when it gets really cold. The only way that I can warm up is to take a hot shower. And I am really grateful for hot water. And it just every time I take a shower, I think about that, how awful it would be. And then I think how many people in the world don't have hot water. And so I know it's a very bizarre thing, but I'm grateful for hot water. What are you grateful for today, Mom?
Well, I'm grateful to be me.
You're grateful to be you. That's wonderful. I love that.
And I have good health.
You do? Absolutely. Trish, $20 super chat. Thank you, honey. Thank you. Thank you.
And I think my mind is pretty well intact. I got a few loose marbles.
Well,
rolling
we all
around
do.
up there.
We all do. That's okay, Mommy. Elizabeth and Sweet Tater, you both are amazing. Thank you for all you do to shed light on the truth. Love you both from Michigan. I'm so excited for tonight's live. Well,
I gotta run, get a pop.
Okay, well, you go get a pop before we start. Let's see. Patsy, love your show. Very entertaining. Watching from Southwest Pennsylvania. Well, glad you are here. Where is everybody from? Let us know where you're watching from. Diane says, Happy Valentine's Day.
I like to know where everybody's from.
I do too. I do too. Lynn, hello, everybody.
Y'all have to listen to my radio show on Thursday and Friday at 10 o'clock. On Thursday, I do bluegrass. And on Friday, I do old time. And I had a great show today.
Well, good.
So that's www.wmmt.org. Put that up there, Elizabeth, in the chat.
Okay. What was it?
www.wmmt.org.
All right. And that's where you can find Mommy's show. She's got one called Taters, Tubers, and she's got one called Out of the Blue.
That's the bluegrass one.
Mm-hmm.
And I play lots of field recordings and stuff. Well, yesterday I played Deportee, which is a song Woody Guthrie wrote when he sort of bummed around and during the 30s and got stuff, and it was about those people during the migration from the Dust Bowl out to California. If you've never watched The Grapes of Wrath, you ought to watch it. That's Grapes of Wrath.
Grapes of Wrath. Well, there you go.
It's an old film. It's good. I think it might be in color, though.
Well, there you have it. Mommy's got you a good suggestion there. All right. So, Jessica, good old Virginia here. Thank you.
I love Virginia.
Yes. It's beautiful. Okay. So let's move on to this deposition. So I've got it zoomed in here for us. Now, I thought it was interesting that we read Mickey's the other night. This one is Sabrina's. And I noticed that on behalf of the plaintiffs, it's Bethany Baxter and Ned Pillersdorf. And then on behalf of the defendants, it's Jason Williams, Jonathan Shaw, and Don Jones. And so I noticed that Dotson, Mickey's other lawyer that was there in his, wasn't at Sabrina's deposition. I don't know if that means anything or not, but
maybe not, but it's interesting to know that he wasn't there.
Yeah, he was there at Mickey's, but he wasn't there at Sabrina's. And it's going to be interesting to see who all was there at Ben's. Okay, so this starts it. It's the videographer's opening. Just says his name, and it says case number, and then Sabrina Atkins and Jennifer Hill versus Ben Fields. The date is April 9th, 2024, and the time is 1:06 p.m. And then they swear in the witness. Miss Baxter, I will go first. My name is Bethany Baxter. I am here on behalf of Sabrina Atkins, Jennifer Hill, and the plaintiffs. Mr. Williams, my name is Jason Williams. I'm here on behalf defendant Ben Fields. Remember, there was a ton of typos in Mickey's deposition. So I shouldn't be surprised if there's a ton of typos in this one too.
Well, all they needed was between behalf of defendant Ben Fields in his individually capacity.
Okay, so Mr. Williams is representing Ben in his individual capacity. Now, we saw that in Mickey's. Mickey had one lawyer there representing him in his official capacity as the sheriff, and then he had and then I'm assuming Dotson was there in his for his individual capacity. Mr. Shaw, Jonathan Shaw, I am here on behalf of Ben Fields in his official capacity. So Williams and Shaw. Oh, wait a minute. Let me finish reading it. Ben Fields in his official capacity and Mickey Stines in capacity as Letcher County Sheriff. So he was there on behalf of both of them. Mr. Shaw, then, that explains that. He represents Ben and Mickey both in their official capacity from the Sheriff's Department. Okay. So that clears that up. And I'm Ned Pillersdorf, and I'm counsel with Miss Baxter for Miss Atkins. I am Don Jones, and I represent Eastern Kentucky Correction Services, Inc. So that's the ankle monitor company.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So Mickey didn't have anybody at Sabrina's deposition that represented him in his individual capacity the same way that Ben did. Ben had
Mickey's not there when they're doing this.
I know, Mom.
Okay.
I know. Just listen.
Okay.
Direct examination. Mr. Williams, question. Ms. Atkins, can you hear me okay? Yes. Question. As I said just a moment ago, my name is Jason Williams, and I have been retained to represent Ben Fields in an individual capacity. I know that Ms. Baxter is there with you. Can you tell who else is in the room on your end? Answer. The court reporter, Joey Van Hoos. Question. And you are currently at the Leslie County Detention Center, is that correct? Answer. Yes, sir. Question. Okay. Ms. Atkins, have you ever given a deposition for anything before? Answer. No. Question. Okay. I'm sure your attorney has prepared you for this, but I just want to make sure that kinda on the same page before we get started. The first thing that I would tell you is that this isn't an endurance test. I don't know how long the deposition is going to take. Hopefully, it won't be all that long. But if you need to take a break at any time, let us know, okay? Okay. Question. You will need to speak up for me so that the court reporter can hear you clearly, and so counsel can as well on this Zoom. Please try to keep in mind that as I ask you the questions, you might anticipate the answer before I even get my whole question out. But it is important for the court reporter, as recording for me, to get the whole question out before you begin to answer it. And by the same token, I will try to do my best to not begin asking you another question while you are still working on the answer to the last one. Okay? Answer. Okay.
Don't interrupt.
Question. And then the last thing I would say is that, we have a tendency when we are talking to each other to answer questions with a head shake or a nod. And because we are taking this down in transcript, you will need to answer verbally. So even though you may be shaking your head yes, you will need to actually say yes or no if you are shaking your head no, okay? Okay. Question. All right. Any questions before we get started? No. All right. Any questions before that we get started? Oh, that's the same one. All right. Can you tell us what your full name is for the record? Sabrina K. Adkins. And does K in the middle stand for anything? K. K-A-Y. K-A-Y? Uh-huh. Okay. All right. And tell me, is that your maiden name, Adkins? No, Adkins is my married name. Adkins is your married name? Yes. What was your maiden name? Hackney. Question. Okay. Did I hear you right? Acne?
No.
Answer. Hackney. Hackney. Question. All right. And besides Adkins and Hackney, what other last names have you gone by? Answer. Little. Little? Yes, sir. Okay. And I know you are using Adkins currently. What years have you used that last name to the best of your recollection? From 94 to 2016, and then 2018 to now. Okay. And did you use Hackney until 94? Yes. What years? Years or years? Did you use the last name Little? 2016, 2017. And have you ever had any nicknames that you have gone by? No. Any aliases? Sometimes folks use different names than they normally would. Any aliases that you used? No. What year were you born, please? 1976. We're going to go on past that. Ms. Baxter. Jason, okay. At some point, were you divorced? Yes. And what year were you divorced? 2017. What county was your divorce in? Pike County. Are there any children from that marriage? No. All right. Besides Mr. Little, who else have you been married to? Joseph Eddie Adkins. Joseph Adkins? Uh-huh. What time period were you married to, Mr. Adkins? 95 to 2010. And were you all married at? Pike County. Divorced there as well? Yes. Any children born out of that marriage? Yes, one son. What is that son's name? Jacob Thomas Edward Atkins. And is Jacob still living in Kentucky? Yes. How old is Jacob? 26. Does he live in Pike County? Yes. Is Jacob married? No. Where does Joseph live, if you know? In Pike County. Do you happen to know Joseph? Well, let's go on past that. All right. Let's go on past all this stuff because that doesn't have anything to do with it. I know. Let's see. Let me go back to the last question. It's in Pike. And they're asking the county. How long have you and Mr. Reynolds been together? About 6 months. I know you are currently incarcerated, but what was your last... Oh, sheesh. Let me get past all this stuff here. We don't want to read all that. Can you tell me what education level you have, please? I graduated high school. Okay. Where did you graduate from? Belfry High School. Have you lived in Pike County all of your life? Yes. You mentioned Letcher for a while, right? Yes. Would Letcher and Pike County be the two counties that you have ever lived in? I lived in Warren County for like 2 months. Is that Bowling Green area? Yes. Tell me what time period you lived in Bowling Green. A couple of months in 2016. What mound you over there? I married Enos, and he had a job as an electrician traveling to different Walmarts. And that was the Walmart that we went and stayed and worked at. Okay. Do you have any college at all? Just some, but no degrees. Where have you attended some college at, Big Sandy? Is that something where that you would go to class at the building or online or what? I done it online. All right. Any other education or training that you have had that we haven't talked about? No. Have you taken any vocational training? In high school, I did. Okay, tell me what you studied. CNA. Have you ever worked as a CNA? No. Any other training that you have had? No. Okay. Have you ever been in the military? No. When were you last employed? Pig in a poke. I don't recall the year. Maybe. Oh no. It would be the flea market over in Letcher County. I worked for Dale Dillis. We flea marketed there at the vendor's mall. That was the last one? Yeah. What did you do there? We resold flea market items. Did you just try to help customers there at the vendor's mall? Is that what it was? Yes. Do you remember what your wage was? $10 an hour. Okay. Do you remember about how long that you worked at the vendor's mall? On and off for probably a year. And about what year would that be? 2020, 2021. What caused your employment to end at the vendor's mall? When I got arrested and come out to house arrest, I moved back to Pike County. All right. You mentioned Pig in a Poke before that? Yeah, And that is a restaurant? Yeah. What did you do there? I cooked. What wage did you make? I don't remember. How long did you work there? About a year. Why did that employment end? I don't even remember. Okay. How about before Pig and a Poke restaurant? I worked at Wendy's. In Pikeville? Yeah. Do they have more than one there? Yes. Which one did you work at? The Coal Run. And how long did you work there? About a year and a half. What was your position? Assistant manager. Do you remember how much you made there? $36,500 a year. And why did you leave that employment? I don't remember. How about before Wendy's, ma'am? Pike County Detention Center. What did you do there? I supervised the inmates in the kitchen. Well, and what time period did you work there doing that job? I don't really recall the year. About a year? Yeah, I did work there a year. Okay. Who was your supervisor at the Pike County Detention Center? Rodney Scott. Do you remember what you made there? $11.75 an hour. And what was the reason that you left the Pike County Detention Center? I got the job at Wendy's making more money. At Wendy's? Yes. All right. How about before the Pike County Detention Center? Eastern Telephone. What did you do there? I done accounts receivable. I sold phone systems. And for about how long? Almost 9 years. Where are they based out of? They're impactful. Okay. Do you remember what wage you made there? Excuse me. I think it was $414.75 plus bonuses. Okay. And why did you leave that job? I got married shortly after that. I met my second husband. Excuse me. Have you ever been terminated from any of your work positions? The job at the phone company, they gave me the ultimatum of choose my job or choose the man I was with. Tell me a little bit more about that. How did that come about, that they gave you that ultimatum? I had come to work several times with a couple of black eyes. Okay, I see. And that was when you were in relationship with who? Enos. And was, well, I don't want to ask you a dumb question if I can avoid it, but it sounds like that was an abusive relationship. Yes. Is that why that marriage ended? Yes. Did you ever take any EPOs or domestic violence orders out against Enos? Yes. Would those have been filed in Pike County? Yes. Were any charges ever filed against Enos as a result? Yes. What became of those charges? He done, some time on a few of them. Okay. Is he still incarcerated? Yes. Do you know what he is in for now? Red rum. Did you ever, during that relationship or any time afterwards, seek any treatment as a result of the DV? No. How long did that abusive relationship exist? Was it the whole marriage, or was it longer than that, or a shorter amount of time? For about 5 years. You worked for a little while for the Kentucky State Police. Is that right? Yes. Wow. And during what time period was that? 2013, maybe. I'm not real sure. Well, just get as close as you can. Around 2013? Yeah. What did you do at KSP? I done car crash reports and filed detective reports. Okay. Do you remember what wage that you made there? No. And why did you leave that job? I left that job and went to HLT Check Exchange. Just got another job? Yeah. And you can't remember what your wage was at KSP? No. Okay. Before I forget about it and move on, I know that you had a difficult relationship with Enos that involved some DV. Have you been involved in any other relationships that involve DV or abuse? No. Other than this lawsuit that we are here to talk about today, have you been a party to any other lawsuits? No. To your knowledge, other than a divorce, for example, you haven't sued anyone and nobody has sued you? No, sir. I think that I saw something where that you had applied for Social Security disability. Yes. Have you been awarded disability? No. Is that still ongoing? Are you still doing appeals and so forth? Yes. Okay. Tell me, what is the nature of the disability that you filed on? PTSD, anxiety, depression, bipolar. Okay. Do you remember about when you filed for your Social Security disability? 2022. Have you ever received any SSI or applied for SSI? I think SSI is a part of that, yes. Okay. How about, have you ever had a workers' compensation claim? No. Now, you mentioned some things that you filed your disability for, but do you have any other disabilities that we haven't talked about? Some people might have trouble hearing or seeing, or might have a back injury or something like that. Anything that we haven't discussed that you would consider a disability? No, sir. Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions about your prior medical treatment. And what I'd like you to do is to start out by asking you to kind of separate it from when before you were an adult and then afterwards. So let's talk a little bit about before you were 18. Before you were 18, did you have any significant health problems? No. When you sought treatment before you were an adult, where did you seek treatment at? ARH Hospital at South Williamson. Okay. Did you have like a family doctor that you saw? I had, yeah, like a pediatrician up till I was 18. Okay. Do you remember who that was? I want to say Dr. Randolph. And where was Dr. Randolph at? Located in the ARH hospital. Okay. What types of things did you see that doctor for? Sore throat, cough. Okay. Were you ever hospitalized as a child? No. Have you ever have to go to the emergency room as a child? Yes. Tell me what for. Once I fell on my dad's truck and my teeth got pulled almost out. Okay. I had pneumonia maybe once or twice, and that is it that I can recall. Do remember when you got medicine distilled before you were 18, where that was done at? No. Before you turned 18, did you suffer any mental or physical abuse of any kind? No. Before you were 18, did you seek any treatment for any psychiatric or emotional conditions? No. Let's talk a little bit about your medical treatment since you've become an adult. Okay. All right. Since turning 18 up and until now, have you ever been hospitalized? Yes. Okay. What for? Bronchitis. Okay. I had a hysterectomy. Let me take them one at a time, okay? Okay. Bronchitis. And what hospital were you in? Pikeville Medical. Can you say that again, please? Pikeville Medical. Pikeville, thank you. And how long were you in the hospital for that? 2 weeks. Do you feel like you fully recovered from that? Yes. About when was that? It was 1997. Okay. Any other times that you've been hospitalized? 2012 when I had my hysterectomy. Okay. And that was inpatient procedure and you stayed a few days? Yes. Was that also at Pikeville? Yes. I guess they just have one hospital there, don't they? Yes. So the 2 times that you've been in the hospital as an adult would be from bronchitis and a hysterectomy. Is that right? Yes. Have you ever been in a hospital where voluntary or involuntarily you were there for psychiatric treatment or any kind? Yes. Okay, how many times? 4 or 5. 4 or 5 times? Yes. And would they have been at more than one place? Yes. Okay. How many different places? Highland Regional in Prestonsburg. Okay. King's Daughters. Okay. That is it. So those are the 2 places that those 4 or 5 hospitalizations have occurred? Yes. All right. When you were at Highlands Regional, do you know what time period or periods that was? That was around 2016. Uh-huh. And tell me why that you were at Highland Regional for psychiatric treatment at that time. I was in rehab. I had just become a drug addict and just didn't, at that time, didn't want to live. Okay. Was that related to some attempt, self, or something like that? Yes. Okay. How long did you stay there at Highlands Regional? 6 days. Were you just at Highlands Regional one time or more than one? One time. All right. So it sounds like you were at King's Daughters Hospital several times then. Yes. Okay. When was the first time? 2021. Okay. What were you at King's Daughters for that time? Self. Okay. And how long did you stay? I think a week the first time. All right. And you were there some other times as well? Is that all right? Is that right? Uh-huh. What years were you also at King's Daughters? 2022. The last time I was in was last January. January of 24 or 23? 23. When were you there in 22? What was that for? A mental breakdown. And how about in 23? I tried to.
Pew pew myself.
Were there. I'm sorry to have to ask you about this, ma'am, because I know it is difficult to talk about. But did you have any attempts, self-harm attempts as minor before you turned 18? No, sir. Do you come from a big family? I had 3 brothers and sisters. Okay. Are your folks still living? No. And what was your mom's name? Barbara Hackney. And she is deceased? Yes. And what was your father's name? Chester Hackney. Is he deceased? Yes. All right. Tell me about your siblings. How many do you have? I have 2 sisters. One is deceased and one is alive. And then I have a brother that is deceased. Okay. What is your living sister's name? Melissa Polly. And where does she live? Chapmanville, West Virginia. Okay. And you have one deceased sister? Yes. And what was her name? Amy Jones. You said that you have a brother that is deceased? Yes. What was his name? George Hackney. Do you have a lot of family, kinfolk, cousins, and 4th and Eastern Kentucky? Yes. Other than Hackney, what last name would they go by? Davis. Any other family names that would be prominent? No. All right. So have we talked about all the 3 times that you've been hospitalized? Uh-huh. How about, are there times other than being hospitalized where you stayed overnight at hospital, but you were at the ER as an adult? At the ER? I'm sorry. Did you say you hadn't been to the ER? No, I have been to the ER. Okay. Tell me as far back as can recall, starting with the time that you have been at the emergency at the hospital. Around 98, 99, gallbladder. Okay. I ended up having it removed. It was outpatient. Okay. Around 2015, 16, I was there several times with rotator cuff. I ended up having rotator cuff surgery, and it was outpatient. Some black eyes and stuff like that. Was your rotator cuff a result of DV? Yes. All right. What other times can you remember? I had Hep C back in 2020 that I was seen for. Can you tell me the condition again? I'm sorry. Hep C. Okay. Did they just treat you in the hospital? in the ER and let you go home? No. They referred me to Mountain Comp where I took treatment for it. Okay. What other times have you been in the ER? I hurt my back tugging on a big propane tank I had at my house and hurt my back. I went there, or just the common cold. Okay. Since you've become an adult, what family doctors have you treated with? Mountain Comp, Dr. Fannin. Is that the same place? No. Dr. Fannin has a practice called Best Family Practice. Okay. And then Mountain Comp. Where is Dr. Fannin's office at? Prestonsburg now. Did it used to be somewhere else? Pikeville. And which Mountain Comp do you go to? I've been to the one in Whitesburg. I've been to the one in Pikeville. I've been to the one in Prestonsburg. Okay. Any other family doctors you've treated with? Dr. Trivett in Pikeville. What did you see Dr. Trivett for? Just regular checkups, MD stuff. Okay. Any other family doctors that we haven't discussed? No family doctors, no. Any other kinds of doctors that you have seen as an adult that we haven't talked about? Yes. I've seen counselors. Okay. When did you begin seeing counselors? 2021. 21? Yeah. Okay. Where did you go for counseling? Mountain Comp. What kind of treatment did the counselors give you? Just therapy and medication. Have you been, aside from any time that you have been incarcerated, have you been in continuous counseling since 21? Yes. When was the last counseling that you've had as we sit here today? February 13th. The day before that, I got arrested. Okay, now you mentioned to me some conditions you had filed your disability related to, and one of them was PTSD. Yes. Can you tell me, to the best of your knowledge, when you were first diagnosed with PTSD? Late 2021 or early 22? Okay. You also mentioned you had filed for anxiety. Yes. When were you first diagnosed with anxiety? The same. Late 21? Yes. How about depression? Yes, the same. And you also mentioned bipolar. When do you think you were first diagnosed with bipolar? The same. In late 21? Yes. Was it the same person who diagnosed you with all those conditions? Yes. Who was it? ARC, the rehab, the counselors there. Is that someone that you are still seeing? Well, I was up until I came to jail. I understand. Are you currently receiving any kind of medical treatment at the detention center? Yes, sir. What kind of treatment are you receiving at the detention center? For the same things, PTSD, anxiety, bipolar, and for my sleep. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your history or arrest and so forth. Okay. Did you have any juvenile arrest? No. Okay. Now, after turning 18, when was the first time that you got in any kind of trouble with the law? 2016. Okay. And what kind of trouble did you get into? DUI. And where was that at? Pike County. And was that something that you ended up pleading guilty to? Yes. What was the nature of the intoxication? Was it drugs or alcohol? Alcohol. How old were you when you first began using alcohol? 40? Wow. After 2016, do you recall when you were next arrested? Second offense DUI, same year. Okay, also alcohol? Yes. All right. How about after that? A third offense DUI with rugs. What kind of rugs was that? I had 2 narco 10s, and I was also charged with possession. Okay. Did you develop an addiction to painkillers at some point? Yes. And about when did you begin, or when did that addiction start to the best of your knowledge? Around 2012. And of course, this happens different ways, as you know. Were you prescribed pain medicine by somebody, or were you taking them illegally? No, I was prescribed. Do you remember who prescribed you pain medicine and what for? Dr. Fannin, for my back. And what was going on with your back that you needed medicine? When my son was born, I had a little bit of trouble out of my back, and it would hurt me from time to time. And he just started prescribing for years. All right. After your third DUI, arrested related to the pain medicine, when were you next arrested to your knowledge? 2017. Okay. What was that for? Possession. Possession of what? 2 narco 10s. All right. How about after 2017? Possession of meth in, I want to say, 2018. Now, just so that I don't have to ask you over and over again, the arrests that we are going over now and we will talk about today, have they all been in Kentucky? Yes. Will they all be in either Pike County or Letcher County, or are there other counties as well? Warren County is where I got my second offense DUI. Okay. Any other counties that you can think of? No. All right. So you had position of math in, that's supposed to be 2018. How about after that? Possession of math in Letcher County in 2000, I think it was, or 21. See, that's all screwed up. They've got that. I don't think that's supposed to be the year 2000. I think it was 21, or maybe 20. She was saying 2000. I think it was 21. Ah, there we go. It's not a typo. Okay. How about after that? That is all. And you are currently incarcerated now. I believe that you have already told me that. What is the reason why you are currently incarcerated, ma'am? Letcher County possession of math from 2021. Did you have some kind of parole or probation violation or something like that? Yes. I was put on house arrest and then put on probation and violated my probation. Okay. What happened with your probation that they violated you on it? I went in and confessed and told them I had used. Other than, well, let's just go over. Tell me the jails that you have been housed at in Kentucky. Letcher County. Pike County. Okay. Warren County. Morgan? No, Warren. Warren, I'm sorry. And Leslie County? Oh, there was a time period, I think it was Franklin County. Franklin? Yeah. Was that a separate arrest up there? No, they shipped me up there. Gotcha. So Letcher, Pike, Warren, Leslie, and Franklin. Any others that we haven't discussed? No. And do you know what your current release date scheduled is now? They are supposed to, I'm supposed to file for shock and get released to Pike County Drug Court in the next few months. But you are not sure what the date might be? No. Now, I know this case in your complaint, you alleged that you were placed on home incarceration in 2021. Yes. Before 2021, had you ever been on home incarceration before? No, sir. No, no. Okay. Have you ever been on like supervision of any type before 2021? I was on drug court. Okay. Tell me about where you were in drug court at. Pike County. And what time period were you in drug court there? 2016 and 17. Okay. Did you successfully complete drug court at that time? No, sir. Okay. Tell me what happened. Why you didn't. I got a new charge of possession of meth and went from drug court. Okay. Have you ever been in a drug rehabilitation facility? Yes, several. Okay. How many different ones? The Mountain Center. I've been to several different ARC facilities, and that is ARK, ARC, ARC. I'm sorry. The Mountain Center. Where is that at, please? Prestonsburg. And you said that you've been in several ARC facilities? Yes. Can you give me the locations of those facilities? Harlan, Kentucky, Owensville, Kentucky, Owensboro, Kentucky, Louisa, Kentucky. Louisa? Yeah. Any other places? I don't think so. You've talked to me about the addiction issues you had with alcohol, pain medicine, and math. Have you received rug treatment for other rugs that we haven't talked about? No. Do you feel like you had any addiction issues with any other rugs that we haven't talked about? No. I want to. Are you good with going forward? Do you need to take a break at this point? I'd like to go to the bathroom. Okay, let's take 5. All right, so they go on break. And Ms. Baxter, I will just warn you, we are getting a message that says network band low. Okay, Ms. Atkins. So, as I understand the allegations raised in your complaint with the incident that you are alleging relates with my client, Mr. Fields, began sometime after June of 2021. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. Do you remember? Let's go back to say May of 2021 or before that home incarceration began. Do you remember what kind of medications you were taking at the time? I wasn't taking any. You weren't prescribed any medications? No. I was taking illegal rugs. But no. Before May or June 2021? No. Okay. There are some records that have been produced in discovery from Highlands Regional Medical Center that, at least from my review, indicate that were actively taken. Do you believe those records would be in error? Ms. Baxter. Jason, you broke up there. Could you repeat that question? Miss Adkins, can you hear me okay? Yes. We can't hear you. You're attorney. Okay. Let's see. Let's get past that. We don't want to read that. Give me just a second, y'all. Hey, well, here, let's go over here and see what people are saying. Yes, hit that like button if you will, please. And if you're not subscribed, please be a subscriber. Anybody got anything to say about this as of yet? All right, I'll go back to reading. Here, let me take that off so that way everybody can read it. And what if I do it this way? Is that better? Or is that better? Can you see it better? Either way. That's a little bit better, ain't it? It's a little bit bigger. All right. So we were talking a little bit about your medications before June of 2021. And I understood it. You didn't have any recollection of taking any medications before that time? Was I right on that? Except for in treatment when I was in rehab. Okay, let me just ask you a few questions. We received from your attorney in discovery answers to medical records from HMHC, these folks here, okay? Yes. And so I will just ask you some questions about some of these things. And just give me your best recollection on them, okay? Okay. I'm looking at HMHC record that is dated 8/28/20, and it has your name on it, and it has been bait stamped Plaintiff 109. Jason, we have copies of all the exhibits that you were planning to use. They're sitting right here. Is there a printout of that? And if so, can we flip to it? You are saying that you did get a copy. Correct. The court reporter printed them all, and we have got them sitting here. You all marked it plaintiff's 1, or whatever the number is, 109. It is a record from 8/26/20. Got it. She has got that in front of her now. We have got a PO here. It seems to have resolved itself. But is there on their internet? Just say a prayer. Say a prayer. All right. This record has some medications listed on it. And it says in parentheses, active prior to today. For example, it has Polytrim, Robaxin, Lyrica, Bactrim, ibuprofen. Do you see all of those? Yes. So having seen this record now, do you believe that you were taking those medications back in 2020? Yes. All right. And have these all been prescribed by HMHC to your knowledge? Yes. Okay. One of those medications is a medication called Lyrica. Do you know what you were taking that medication for? For when I had rotator cuff surgery, I still have problems out of my shoulder. Okay, let me just go to another one here. This next one is a record from 11/23/2020, and it's marked Plaintiff's 119. Just let me know when you have had a chance to look at it. Yes, I have. Okay. It says here that you are being seen at the doctor's office that day for racing thoughts for ADD and ADHD. Says patient reports she has racing thoughts. She is restless, excessive worrying, and patient is unaware of bipolar disorder in family. Do you remember seeing the doctor at this time? Yes. And do you remember having those symptoms? Yes. Can you recall why? What was causing those symptoms? I was on math. I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't understand you. I was on math. Okay. That was at a time that you were actively using math? Yes. Is that correct? That's correct. Sheesh. Okay, thank you. These medications that are listed on these records that you told us were prescribed by MCHC, where were you getting those filled? Probably at Walmart in Whitesburg. Or they have another pharmacy. I'm not sure what the name of it is. They're beside of MCHC. Pharmacy located next to MCHC? Yes. Okay. I'm looking at another record here. It's dated April 12th, 2021. And it marked plaintiff's 128. Just let me know when you've had a chance to look at it. Yes. Okay, so this notes a couple of problems you were having. One reads insomnia and another for anxiety. Is that correct? Yes. When did you begin having problems with insomnia? When I started using math. Okay. And how about, well, I need to ask you then, when did you start using math? Around 40? What year would that have been, ma'am? 2016. Okay. And it also indicates that you have some problems with anxiety. When did you start having problems with anxiety? When my drug addiction started around 2016. All right. In the section that was marked anxiety, point to that says anxiety is aggravated by conflict or stress. What kind of conflict or stress were you undergoing at this time? Being a rug addict. Okay. Also, on the very end of that second mark, anxiety, says patient has a history of bipolar disorder. Can you see that? Family history of bipolar disorder? Yes, ma'am. Oh, okay, I see it now. To the best of your knowledge, when were you diagnosed with bipolar disorder? In 2021. Okay. Would that have been, I guess, it says that you have a history of bipolar disorder in April of 21, correct? Right. How long had that history lasted before April of 21? To my knowledge, that was the first year that I was diagnosed with it, was 21. Do you believe it was the folks at MCHC that diagnosed it? No. Okay, who diagnosed it for you? The ARC Rehab. And where was that located? That was the one in Louisa. Louisa? Yeah. Do you remember any particular doctor or counselor that diagnosed that for you? No, I don't remember the name. Okay. Since we've been talking about these, I'd like to go ahead and let's mark them Defendants Exhibit 1, 2, and 3. I'll make the 8/26/20 the first one that we talked about, 1, and the 11/23/20, 2. April 12th, 21 record that we talked about is 3. And then they talk about the exhibits. After reviewing some of these records, would you agree with me that you were actively being treated for anxiety, insomnia, bipolar disorder before April of 21? Yes. Okay, thank you. All right. I want to turn now to the complaint. And I know that you filled some amended complaints since the beginning, but I want to turn now to the original complaint you filed. It looks like back in January of 22. Counsel, do you have a copy of that there? Yes. Let's us back on. Just take your time and let me know when you're ready. Is it the one with the summons attached to the front? That is right. Yeah, I got it. Ms. Atkins, I'm going to ask you some questions about it, so you can take as much time as you need to look over it, but just let me know when you're ready. Okay. Do you want her to review the inform order as well? No? Okay. Are you ready to get asked some questions about it? Yes. All right. If you would turn to let's start at page 2. Will you see there the body or bottom rather there that says factual allegations? Yes. All right. And so if you turn to the next page, page 3, the factual allegations actually begin. And it starts out by saying that you were arrested in Letcher County in April of 21, correct? Correct. And was incarcerated from April to June in Letcher County. Is that correct? Yes. And then in early June of 21, released from the Letcher County Jail and placed on home incarceration. Is that correct? Yes. And if I understand your testimony correctly, this was the first time you had ever been on any type of home incarceration? Yes, sir. And you see in paragraph 10 that Mr. Fields, a deputy sheriff, became your home incarceration officer? Yes, sir. Prior to June of 21, did you know Mr. Fields? No. Okay. Can you tell me about your first time meeting him and what you can recall about that? When he placed me on the house arrest, he come to the jail and introduced himself. I signed my bond and paid the fee, and he put the monitoring device on my leg. Okay. And that was at the detention center? Yes. Okay. Was anyone with him when he did that? No. When he was talking to you and he was placing the device on, was it on your leg? Yes. Was there anyone there to witness that? I think his wife Angie was there. Maybe a couple of guards, more guards. Do you know who the other guards were? No. You said his wife Angie was there. Is that right? Yes. Did you know his wife Angie before that? No. How did you become aware that was his wife? She was a guard there at the jail. So did say something that made you think she was married to Mr. Fields? Yeah, she told me the house arrest officer was her husband. Oh, okay. Or it says, okay. Was that at or near the same time that he was placing the device on you? No, that was maybe a week before. A week before? So you had some type of interaction with her where you would talk to her about things like that? Yes. About the house arrest? Yes. Did you and she talk about anything else that you can recall? No. I guess what I'm trying to determine is, was your interaction with her just limited to the conversation about her husband being a home incarceration officer? No, she supervised at the jail. So, any questions, whatever. She was the guard there. So I would ask her different questions. So that would be between April and June of 21. Yes. Any kind of problems interacting with her? No. So you think that she, along with a couple of other detention center workers, might have been there at the time that the device was placed on your leg? Yes, sir. Okay. How long did that take to do all of that? About 15 minutes. All right. Tell me what happened next. He told me that I had a certain amount of time to get to where that I was living and to let him know when that I got there. Okay. Did you do that? Yes. Was that the same day? Yes. You mentioned in your complaint in paragraph 12, Defendant Fields was aware of plaintiff's housing issues as well as plaintiff's domestic issues. What do you mean by that? When I got back to where I was living with my boyfriend, stay at the time, he had been arrested also, and he was in rehab, and he didn't want me living there no more. So he called the sheriff's department and had them come back out to remove me from his house. You said that he had the sheriff's department called. Yes. Who had the sheriff's department called? There, I don't know what she's doing. I didn't know she was gone. Sorry, y'all. Who had the sheriff's department called? Stacy Yates. That's what somebody told me. So Stacy Yates, remember, was the guy in Mickey's that came forward. Who had the sheriff's department called? Stacy Yates. Okay. So you went to live in a place where Stacy was, and he didn't want you living there? No, he was in treatment. But I guess treatment that would allow him to stay at the house? No, he was inpatient treatment. Okay, so he called from wherever he was at? Yes. And told them that he didn't want you living at the place? That is correct. And to your knowledge, how was Mr. Fields aware of that? Stacy had talked to him or had called in, and then Ben showed up at the house. Okay. Did you end up at another place? Yes. Where was the first address that you went to? 164 Perkins Branch. And that was Stacy's place? Yes. And then where did you end up at? Dale Martin in Isom. I'm not sure of the address. I'm sorry, Dale who? Martin. Is that somebody you were related to or had a relationship with? No, I worked with him. You lived with him? I worked with him. Worked with him. I started living there. Were you living there the entire time you were on home incarceration? No. Where else did you live? I come back to Pike County to... Okay. So goes on to say that Defendant Fields visited plaintiff in the evening, the night she was released from bring you cigarettes and to console you or console her, it says. Do you recall that? Yes. So what time of the day was it that you finally got to the place that you were staying? About 1. About 1? 1 in the afternoon? Yes. And that was at Dale's place? Yes. So later that evening, as I understand it, you are saying that Mr. Fields came to Dale's place where you were staying? Yes. Was Dale there at the time? No. Was anyone there to your knowledge at the time? No. Okay. As I understand it, he brought you cigarettes and consoled you? Yes. Is that something that you had asked him to do? No. But he knew I was out of cigarettes when he dropped me off there. And he did say that he was going to bring some back. Okay. Did you ask him to do that? No. What was it that he was consoling you about? That my boyfriend, had made me move out of the house. I mean, because I was on house arrest. Okay. About how long did he stay at the place that you were staying there at Dale's? Probably 20 or 30 minutes. Not a long time. Okay. Did anything else happen while he was there? He made some, flirty comments, but nothing else. Okay. You indicate in here that at this time, their plaintiff notified the defendant Fields that she did not have any money to pay for her ankle bracelet, but she was terrified to return to the Letcher County Jail. Is that correct? Yes. So why did you decide to tell Mr. Fields that you didn't have the money for your ankle bracelet? Because my boyfriend had just put me out of the house that day, and I didn't know what I was going to do. Tell me a little bit about the process. Do they try to determine whether or not that you can pay for the ankle bracelet before they approve you for it? No. Okay. That wasn't part of the process to your knowledge? No. But you do have to pay a down payment. Did you make that down payment? Yes. And what And was that prior to meeting Mr. Fields? Yes, same day. Was that money that you paid, or did someone else pay it for you? My sister paid it. And what is your sister's name? Melissa Polly. Okay. And where did she live? West Virginia. So did she send the money over or come over herself? Or how did that work? No, she came over and signed the bond. Okay, you mentioned in here that you were terrified to return to the Letcher County Jail. Yes. Why is that? The conditions of that jail are very poor. Did you receive any injuries there or anything like that happen? Yes. I got a severe yeast infection from not being allowed to take a shower, and I had to go to the hospital. Do you recall making any complaints while you were there at the detention center? Yes. Do you know if any of those complaints were in writing? Yes. Okay. In paragraph 15, you state that Defendant Fields made flirtatious comments about the plaintiff's looks and body, and he told her that he was confident that they could work something out. Is that your recollection? Yes, sir. Before these alleged comments that he made, had you made any flirtatious comments to him? No. Why did you discuss the money issue on the ankle bracelet with Mr. Fields? Ms. Baxter. I think that she has already answered that question, so I'm going to object, but you can answer it again. Okay. Because my boyfriend had put me out of the house. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I guess my question really is, why did you think that Mr. Fields could do anything about that? I thought that maybe he could give me advice to go to the judicial system, because of my circumstance of not being able to live at my home. I mean, what else was she supposed to do? She was supposed to report that, and he was her supervisor. He's exactly who she would report that to. And he's the one who knew before she did. He showed up to her house to tell her, apparently. That's what it sounds like. Okay. What did you ask him? I asked him if there was a chance of getting off the ankle bracelet or maybe going to treatment with the ankle bracelet, but not paying for it. Do you remember if he said anything to you? Yes. He told me to file a motion in the court. Okay. Did you end up filing any motions? Yes, sir. You did to lower the amount? Yes. Okay. Was there any resolution of those motions? They were all denied. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. They were all denied. Denied? Thank you. You reference in here that he made some comments about your looks and body. Do you recall what those comments were? Yeah, he told me I was very pretty and I had very pretty legs. Anything else that you can recall? Not that I can recall. You state in your complaint in paragraph 15 that he made a statement to the effect that he was confident that you could work something out. Yes. Specifically, it says he was confident that they could work something out. Do you know who he meant by they? Me and him. Why do you believe that? Because he said that he didn't think that they would let me off the house arrest, but he could help me out, work out something. He would make sure that I didn't go back to jail. Was anything else said at that point? No. Okay. In paragraph 16, you state that plaintiff understood these comments to mean she would receive favorable treatment from Defendant Fields if she provided him with sexual favors. Why did you understand those communications to mean that? When I was incarcerated at Letcher Jail, I had some allegations that he had several women sexual. I mean, they give him sexual favors and wouldn't have to pay for their house arrest. And in relation to the day that you were released, when had you heard those comments? While my stay at that time? I mean, was it any particular time? No. How long before June 2nd were you notified that you could be on home incarceration? Probably 2 weeks. Do you believe then these comments that you are alleging occurred sometime in those 2 weeks before your release? Can you repeat that? Do you believe that the comments you heard you are claiming about Mr. Fields occurred sometime in the 2 weeks before you were released to home incarceration? Yes. Do you know the names of any of the persons you are saying that you heard that from? Crystal Dishman, Amanda Seals. Okay. I'm sorry, ma'am. Let me take and write them down here one at a time. Crystal who? Dishman. Dishman? Oh, okay, Crystal Dishman. Amanda Seals. Amanda Seals. And I'm not sure of the other one's name. Okay. And do you know where Crystal Dishman is now? Last time I seen her, she was in Letcher Jail, but was going to a treatment. Okay. Do you know where Amanda Seals is now? No, sir. When did you last talk to Crystal Dishman? When I had trial on the 27th of last month. March 27th, yes. And what did you talk to her about at that time? It was during court, doing court. And she was checking me, asking me if I was okay, making sure that I wasn't being houses at Letcher County. And she told me they was supposed to be sending her to treatment. In speaking with Crystal, did you understand her information to be personal information about Mr. Fields or something she had heard? I don't recall. Okay. How about with Amanda Seals? Same question? I don't recall. Did you leave your discussions with them believing that they actually knew Mr. Fields or just heard something? No, they knew him. Is that the only occasion that they spoke with you about that subject? Yes. Have you talked with them at any time since about your lawsuit or your allegations? With Crystal? Okay. When did you speak with Crystal about it? I'm not really sure. Maybe about a year or 2 years ago. She saw it in the paper and she had messaged me just checking on me. Any other times? No. All right. Paragraph 17, you talked about that you and Defendant Fields had communicated on a regular basis by text messages. Yes, sir. And you had, well, did you have a phone at that time? Yes. Was it under your name? Yes. Do you remember what your phone number was at that time? Do you have the same number now? No, sir. And what service did you have your phone with at that time? I'm not sure. What was the time period that you were under supervision on home incarceration? The time period? Yes. From June of 21 until January of 22. And do you believe that you texted with Mr. Fields that entire period? Yes, sir. So roughly a period of about 6 months. 7 months. Yeah. And how often would you text Mr. Fields? Daily. And on what day do you believe that they texting started? Texting started the very next day after that I was released from jail. And what do you recall the nature of the texting? Why were you texting him? I don't recall. Now, when you began your home incarceration, what was your understanding of how you would be monitored? I'd go in once a week and report to him on Wednesday at 4 o'clock. And of course, my bracelet, I had to keep charged and it would track me, when I was allowed. And I think maybe 5,000 feet outside of my residence. So once a week you'd go to have it charged. Is that right? No, I charged it at home. Once a week we had to go and pay the fee and check in with Mr. Fields. Okay. And would you know when to leave to pay the fee? I did for the first couple weeks. Where would you go to? To the courthouse. Any particular office or place at the courthouse? He would always come out of Judge Mullins's chambers and take out money right there in the hallway. Did you get receipts for your payments? Yes. Did you pay in cash or how did you pay? Cash. Was there a point where you quit making payments? Yes. And what was that point? Probably after about a month that I had gotten out. You mean a month after that you were placed on home incarceration? Yes, sir. Once you moved, was it Dale's place? Yes. Once you moved to Dale's place, were you there the whole time? No. So you told me about from June to January. Is that when you went back into custody? No. I was at Dale's place for about 2 months, from June to like July and August. And then I moved back to Pike County. Oh, you told me that earlier. I'm sorry. Were you at Dale's until probably August or something? July? Yeah. And then you went back to Pike County? Yes. And you were on home incarceration there? Technically I was, but I didn't wear my bracelet there. And what address did you stay in Pike County? Anybody stay there with you? No. Were you alone at that time? Yes. Now, were you supposed to move to Pike County? Not per the judge. I was supposed to stay in Letcher. Are you alleging something that Mr. Fields knew about and just didn't report, or something along those lines? Yes. And going to say that in late 21, that defendant Fields asked Sabrina to meet her at the Letcher County Courthouse in the evening after dark. Is that correct? Yes. Can you tell me in your own words what you believe occurred at that time? Yes. I met him at the courthouse in Judge Mullins's private chambers. I walked in. I think I was upset. I was crying. He done knew I told him that I didn't know how I was going to pay this bracelet. I needed to go to rehab. I had relapsed. He proceeded to tell me to put my foot up on the desk, and he removed my bracelet. Do you remember what day sit was on that? No, sir. I don't. How long was the bracelet off? Well, he took it off, and at first he put it back on the day before I go to court. And then the day of court, he would take it back off. And to your knowledge, how many times would you say that occurred? Probably 4 to 6 times. That would always be at the courthouse. Yes, in Judge Mullins's chambers. Do you know of anyone who would have witnessed that happening? No. It was usually it was after 5 and the courthouse was closed. For example, you don't recall there being any scenes when you went in there at that time and happened to run into somebody you knew or something like that? Dale, the guy that I was staying with, he took me down there a couple times. He didn't go in, but he sat out in the car. And where is Dale now, to your knowledge? He lives in Georgia. Do you know his address? No, sir. Are you still in contact with Dale? Yes. Do you have Dale's phone number? Not with me. Okay. Can you provide that to your attorney so that we can find out what his number is? Yes. Ms. Baxter, do you want to send me a follow-up letter just to make sure I don't forget? I'll be happy to find that for you. Thank you. So paragraph 21 says between June and December of 21, you met at the courthouse approximately 6 times. Is that fair? Yes. And during the time period from June to December of 21, is there some point that you were saying that the texting between yourself and Fields became flirtatious? Yes. And when did that occur, to the best of your recollection? Within days after that, I was released from jail. And what was the first thing that you can recall being what you would describe as flirtatious? Him telling me I was pretty and I had pretty legs when he bought me a pack of cigarettes that night. When he said that to you, did you say anything in response to him? I don't remember. For example, did you say anything like, Ben, I don't think that is appropriate? Or did you say anything that would make him understand immediately that you wouldn't tolerate that? Okay. I don't remember. I was really scared at that time. So I don't think that I did say something like that. Did you make any flirtatious comments to him? Yes. Okay. When did that start? After he told me that he was sure that we could work something out within a few days. What did you begin doing that you would consider flirtatious? When he would text me, I'd ask him how his day was, or I would send him a picture of myself. You would send him a picture of yourself? Yes. How many times you think you would have sent him a picture? Just a couple of times. And what was the purpose of sending him the pictures? Well, he thought I was pretty, so I was just sending him a picture of myself. Were you intending to flirt with him that way? Yes, that was the only way that I thought I would be okay on house arrest without paying. We worked something out. Now, paragraph 22 of your complaint, you state that during these meetings, Defendant Fields' behavior escalated. I just want to make sure that I understand the meanings that we are talking about. Are these the meetings at the courthouse where you are paying for your monitor? Yes, it was at courthouse. Not when I was paid for my monitor. It was after hours. Okay. So that is what I'm trying to understand. So these were separate occasions that you went to the courthouse and met Mr. Fields, separate and apart from when you paid the fees for your monitor. Yes. And separate and apart from any times that you were required to be there by the court. Yes. And you think that may have occurred approximately 6 times? Yes. All right. In paragraph 22 states that during these meetings, his behavior escalated from flirtatious comments to forceful kissing. When did the first occasion that you had any physical contact with Mr. Fields? Probably the second or third. The second or third visit at the courthouse? Yes. And do you know about what date that would have been? No. So you don't know whether it was July, August, September, etc., right? I don't recall. You think it, did you keep any record of when you were traveling to the courthouse in this way? Not beside online, text messenger, Facebook messenger. So before this second or third trip to the courthouse, had there been any physical contact between you and Mr. Fields? He came to Dale's apartment a couple of times and switched my bracelet, ankle, switch it from one ankle to the other. All right. So I understand he was dealing with the ankle monitor, but anything that you would consider like flirtatious or sexual or anything like that? Well, yeah. The reason that I say that is because I went to Walmart. I would apply to go to Walmart once a week to grocery shop. And he saw my ankle and it was real red. And he told me my leg was too pretty to let it be swollen and stuff. And my ankle monitor. So he came to the apartment and changed it. Do you remember what date that occurred? No, it was on a weekday, but I don't remember. Do you know was there any witnesses to that, to your knowledge? Dale was home. Dale was there? Yeah. Okay. So you referred to in paragraph 22 as being forcible kissing. Was there, for lack of a better way to put it, non-forcible kissing before this occurred? No. Do the first time a kiss occurred, you are saying it was forcible? Yeah. He grabbed me and kissed me on the mouth. Okay. And where did that occur? In Judge Mullins's chambers. Did you tell him to stop? I don't recall. I just thought, I don't think so. I thought it was something that I had to do. Did you kiss him back? I don't remember. You next say that the behavior escalated to oral schmegs. When was the first time you had oral? I don't remember the date. I'm going to say November, late November, the early first part of December. November, December 21. Is that correct? Yes. Also at the courthouse? Yes. Were there any witnesses? No. And how many times did that occur to your knowledge? The oral happened twice and the normal way just once. 2 times, and both in November, December 21. The other one was the end of December or maybe even the first part of January. Did you tell him at any time that you didn't want to have oral? I'm not sure. So you said that you had the regular way. On one occasion, yes. Was that also at the courthouse? Yes. And did you tell him that you didn't want to have that with him? I don't know. Okay. Just so I'm clear, ma'am, I know this is difficult to talk about, but were you engaging, that's supposed to be were you engaging in these acts with him as opposed to him holding you down or anything like that? Yes, I did engage. Okay. And at any point, did you suggest to Mr. Fields that you could do these things instead of paying the monitor fee? He insinuated that I could do them things, and I just thought I had to. That was my only option at the time. Okay, so I need to understand, what are you meaning he insinuated? That we could work it out, I wouldn't go back to jail. You believed if you didn't pay your fees that you would go back to jail? Yes. Were you actively seeking help from anyone to pay your fees at that time? Yes. Who were you asking to help you at the time with your fees? My family. Can you be more specific? My son Jacob, my ex-husband Eddie, and then when I moved back I had met Greg and Gay Edmonds, who is my landlords now. They were helping me some. I'm sorry. Did you say Greg Edmond? Greg Edmonds and Gay Edmonds. Greg and Dave Edmonds. Lord have mercy, Gay. And where did you meet these folks? My goodness. The typos kill me. It just, Of course, it was my son, my ex-husband, and then I met Greg when my car broke down. My alternator, him and his wife, they own the tow and starter in Pikeville. Do you know how to get a hold of these folks, Greg and Gay? Yeah. Do you have their number or address? Yes. And then he gives their number. All right. So you sought financial assistance from these folks and they all declined. Is that correct? I mean, they helped me for about the first month that I paid for it, but they were limited. I started using rugs again also. Where were you getting money to buy rugs from? My ex-husband, Greg. I worked, flea marketed. This was, as I understand it, home incarceration between June and December of 21. Is that right? Yes. When during that period did you have a relapse and begin on drugs again? Probably within a month after being out of jail, probably July. And which rug was it that you returned to? Math. How much math were you using during this time period? Probably about $50 a day. 50 a day? Yeah. And to the best of your knowledge, what was the cost of your monitor during this period? $85 a week. $85 a week? Yeah. Now, you allege in your complaint that you believed in December of 21 that certain person were making complaints about Mr. Fields at the courthouse. Is that correct? Yes. And who do you believe was making complaints? Stacy Yates. How did you become aware of that? He told me. Okay. Who did he tell you that he had complained to? His drug court worker. Do you know who that was? Robbie somebody. So in Letcher County, do you believe that there is a drug court worker named Robbie? Yes. Do you know why Stacy decided to make a complaint about that? Yes. I had been at his house the night and I was supposed to be on house arrest. And me and Stacy had gotten into it. And I had scratched his eye or blacked it one. I'm not sure. When he went to drug court the next morning, they asked him what had happened. And he told them. And they wanted to know why I was at his house in the middle of the night and me on house arrest. So that's how it came out, y'all. The pieces are falling into place. Gotta wait till we read them all. before we'll have a full picture of this. And where was Stacy living at this time when you were at his place? Were you in a relationship with Stacy at that time? Yes. How long did that relationship last? On and off for about 5 years. Was that at the time a sexual relationship? Yes, sir. At any time, did you make a complaint about yourself? Make a complaint yourself about Mr. Fields? No. Why not? I was scared. And why is that? I didn't want to go back to the Letcher County jail. All right. Before I forget it, I would like to make the complaint that you filed initially Exhibit 4 to your deposition. Ms. Baxter, do you want to include the summons? I'd prefer to have the 12 pages of the complaint. Yeah, okay. Ms. Atkins, are you ready for another break or ready to go? Can I take a break? Yes, that's fine. All right. And then go on a break. Ma'am, I wanted to ask you about some of the allegations. Some more of the allegations that you make in the complaint that you filed. And some of these things I know involve legal terms and so forth. I'm not asking you to be a lawyer in any way, but I am just trying to understand some of the things that you have said. So, as it related to the allegations against Mr. Fields, I understand you told me about some physical contact that you all had. Are you alleging any type of physical injuries as a result of any contact you had with Mr. Fields? Ms. Baxter, again, object to the form, but you can answer it if you know. Can you ask that again? I'm kind of confused what you're asking me. I understand that you have some claims in your complaint about the motive or the stress, and I will ask you some questions about in a minute. But are you alleging that you were physically hurt in any way by Mr. Fields? Did he hurt your body in any way? Oops. Let's see. Sorry, y'all, I lost my place. Give me a second. It wasn't showing the page. Oops. Right here. Man, we sure have read a lot tonight. I'm really, really shocked. There's a ton of this stuff in here that I am really, really surprised at. Here it is. Well, see, then it just stops. So, let me keep going. All right. It was missing a page there. I felt like I had to do what he said. Probably not a very well worded question. What I'm trying to determine is, did you receive any kind, what you would consider a permanent physical injury, bruising, broken bones, scratches, anything along those lines? No. It is my understanding, then, that your allegations about injuries related more to a mental or emotional type damages? Yes. Is that right? Yes. So, all right. Can you tell me in your own words, then, what the emotional damages or injuries that you are alleging as a result of your supervision by Mr. Fields? Yeah, the judicial system itself. I done what I thought that I needed and I had to do to stay out of jail. I had tried to go about the right way and write motions to let them know I couldn't afford the bracelet. I didn't hide about being on house arrest, about not having the bracelet on. I don't trust, I'm still under the same charge. And I don't trust the judicial system, especially Letcher County, I have nightmares to this day. I understand that you are still getting some treatment in the Leslie County Detention Center. Have you discussed anything along those lines with the folks there when you are being treated? Yes. Okay. And other than the folks at the detention center, what other counselors have you seen in relation to the allegations you are making against Mr. Fields? And I just need to know the facilities and the names of the counselors that you have seen and talked to about the damages that you are claiming in your complaint. Mountain Comp over in Isom. I think her name starts with an S. Shay or something like that there at Isom MCC. Rich Godman at ARC facility done trauma therapy. I've seen several counselors. King's Daughter's psychiatric ward several times. Do you believe that you have been in King's Daughter's psych ward since January of 22? Yes. When was the last time you were there? January of last year. January of 23, right? Yeah. And the times that you spoke with Rich Godman at ARC, do you know what time period that was? It was June 15th to December 15th of last year. Okay. Plus, I saw several other counselors in between my trauma therapy. Would those other counselors have been at either Mountain Comp, at ARC, or at King's Daughters? They were at ARC, and then I was seeking treatment at a place in Pikeville before I can't remember what it's called. It is a new place on Town Mountain Road. I'd started seeing a therapist there and doing ARC outpatient counseling as well. Do you know that therapist's name? No, I don't. But you think it was at the ARC facility. One was at the ARC facility. The other was on Town Mountain Road in one of the medical buildings. It's, I don't remember the name of it, but it is a counselor company. And you told me, was it in February of 24 that you went back into custody? Yes. When was the last time that you had seen any of those folks for counseling before you went into incarceration where you now? February 13th. Do you remember what occurred at that counseling session? Yes, it was my second counseling session at that new place. We had just started discussing everything that happened, my house incarceration. Are you currently on any kind of medications for emotional or mental issues? Yes. What medications are you taking? Taking Buspar. Hold on. Let me think. I take trazodone, Buspar, medicine for nightmares, and another medicine for depression. I can't remember the two names, though. Can you tell me, as you sit here today, can you tell me whether any of the medications you are taking now are different than medications that you were taking before your home incarceration started? Yes. I think that I took trazodone before, but the rest are all new pills. You think that you were taking trazodone before? Yeah, I think so. Okay, what are the medications that you believe are new since your home incarceration? The Buspar, the nightmare pill, and then I take, it's something for my bipolar. I can't remember the name of it. Where do you have those medications filled? When I was on the street, I had them go to Pikeville Walmart, but I don't know where they fill them at here. You went to Pikeville Walmart? Yeah, and my hospital pharmacy as well. I'm sorry, you're going to have to say that one more time for me. The hospital pharmacy as well. Pikeville Hospital Pharmacy? Uh-huh. And then when I went to rehab, they filled them inside the ARC facility. Okay. Now, Ms. Adkins, I have received from your attorney a document called interrogatories and request for production of documents. You answered some written questions I sent over to your attorney. Do you remember helping her here with that? Yes. Okay. Do you have a copy there that you can look at? Yes. Just like before, take as much time as you want to read through these, but when you are ready, I have some questions for you. Okay, I'm ready. All right, first question that I have for you there on page 11. At the bottom of the page there is a verification and a signature line with your name on it. Do you see that? Yes. Is that your signature? Yes. Did you review these answers before you signed? Yes. Are they true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Yes. Okay, let's make the defendant's exhibit 5. So let me ask you a few questions about some of the responses that you have in here. On page 2, there's a question about witnesses, and one of the persons that you have listed there is Bert Sloan. Is that someone that works in the Letcher County Jail? Now, what was the one's name? Sloan. Slone. On page 2? On page 2, on interrogatory, answer number 3. Oh, Bert Sloan is the jailer at the Letcher County Jail. Okay. What knowledge do you believe he may have about your case, if any? I'm not sure. Probably. Angie worked there. Also, Ben was inside the jail a lot. I'm sure that he heard the allegations. That is just an assumption that you have, or do you know that he has knowledge? No, I don't know. Okay. How about Deputy Sheriff Norris? What knowledge do you believe Deputy Norris may have? I know that he pulled me over once and arrested me for DUI, and he said, if I had known it had been you, I wouldn't have pulled you over because it is too much trouble, complication. Okay. Anything else? You that Deputy Sheriff Norris may know? No. How about Deputy Sheriff Whitaker? I'm not sure if that was the man that was with them that day or not, but I don't think he would have no knowledge. How about individually identify Chris Triplett? What knowledge do you believe that he may have? With me? I'm not sure. You have indicated that he may be eyewitness to complaints, that he might have received some complaints. I don't really know Chris Triplett that well. I just know that his wife was, or whatever. I don't really know him. At any time, did you talk to Deputy Sheriff Norris, Whitaker, or Chris Triplett? No, I met Chris Triplett when I come and met with Bethany once. And that was the first time that I had met Chris Triplett. How was he employed? Do you know Chris Triplett? No. Do you know where he's employed at? No. Do you have any knowledge about the allegations he made by Jennifer Hill in the complaint filed in this action? No, except for the day, she met with Bethany. I didn't know her. You didn't know her before that meeting with your attorney? No. You haven't had any discussions with her outside the presence of your attorney? No. Do you know what information Holly Boggs may have? Holly Boggs is Ben's sister. When it was reported to drug court that it was reported to Robbie and Holly. And how about Robbie Kinser? What knowledge do you believe that Robbie Kinser has? That is the one that Stacy reported it to. And Robbie and I am assuming Holly too. Have you ever spoke with Holly Boggs or Robbie Kinser about the allegations in your lawsuit? No. Have you ever spoken to Judge Kraft about the allegations in your lawsuit? I don't remember. I'm not sure. Okay. How about Judge Mullins? Have you ever spoke to Judge Mullins about the allegations in your lawsuit? No, I don't think so. On page 4, in response to interrogatory number 7, you state that you believe that Stacy Yates disclosed that employees working with the Letcher County Drug Court program that Fields was sexually harassing females. Do you know the person he disclosed allegedly that he exposed that to? Robbie and Holly. Anyone else to your knowledge? No. Okay. In response to interrogatory number 11, on page 5 of your responses, you state that Chris Triplett made complaints to a Letcher County Sheriff's Department about Ben Fields. What knowledge do you have about that? When I met him and Jennifer, he told me that he had made allegations. And did he tell you why he had done that? Yes, because they harassed him and because Ben sexually harassed Jennifer. That's supposed to be his name, I think. Got too many E's in it. Chris Triplett was in some type of legal trouble himself, to your knowledge? No, I took it. It was just because that he had went to the sheriff's department and reported about Jennifer. They were starting to pull him over and, okay, do you have any personal knowledge about any type of training that Mr. Fields received? Buddy, they sure cut her off real quick, didn't they? No. When you encountered Mr. Fields, was he in uniform or in street clothes or what? He was always in his sheriff uniform. Okay. Can you tell me what that consisted of? Yeah, it was a light brown shirt. He had a badge, and if I'm not mistaken, his pants were dark brown, and he drove an older Letcher County Sheriff's Department car. When you say older, do you know whether it was a marked car or unmarked or not? It was marked. In response to interrogatory number 18, you state that you have been convicted of 2 felonies for controlled substance in Pike County. Is that correct? Yes. Any other felonies that you've been convicted of? This felony here. In what facility here are you referring to? The one from the house arrest, the 2021 possession of meth. What was the charge or conviction to your knowledge? Possession of meth and bail jumping. So if I'm understanding you correctly, they are now saying there are 3 felonies you have been convicted of? Yes. Thank you. All right. Now, with your interrogatory answers that we made as Exhibit 5 to your deposition, there were some documents that your attorney exchanged, and some of those we have already talked about. For example, some of your medical records, but I did want to ask you about some additional records that were attached. The first ones are what appear to be some photos of texts from phones. Yes. Are we done with interrogatory responses? Yes. Can you give me a Bates number? I want to start with these that are marked as 72, just because they appear to be earlier in time. Okay. They were with Rule 26 disclosures. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay. Are these with the disclosures? Let's identify them correctly then. I guess these would be attachments to your Rule 26 disclosures. Okay. The first one I want to ask you about is the plaintiff's Bates stamp 72 through 82. Do you have those in front of you? I do. Okay, and these? I'm trying to see what the earliest date is on these. But can you identify what these are for me, Miss Adkins? These are Facebook messages between me and Ben. Facebook messages, okay. That identifies his answer. So, are these messages between you and Mr. Fields beginning in June 22nd, 21? Yes. And it looks like there's a total, if I am counting right, 10 being the number to knowledge. Are these all of the Facebook message records that you have? Yeah. Okay. There aren't any others to your knowledge? No, I don't think so. And so there are, in looking at these documents, Mr. Adkins, there are certain ones that are in bubble that are dark in color. Page 72, there is a message that says, "You going to come by and check my bracelet?" And it appears to be in kind of a dark grayish color bubble. Do you see those? Yes. As we look at these records, just for future reference, do you agree with me the ones that are in dark gray are messages that you sent to Mr. Fields? Yes. And the ones that are on the left-hand side of the page, the farthest left side of the page, they are kind of in white or very light gray. These are messages from Mr. Fields. Yes. And we see photographs of these records. Are these records that you sent to Mr. Fields? Yes. On June 22nd, it looks like you sent him a picture of a forward-facing picture of your face and upper torso. Is that right? Yes. And on page 73, it looks like you sent him a photograph. Looks like a photograph taken underneath your brassiere, facing up towards your face. Yes. And you would agree with me that the photograph, certainly the photograph of your brassiere, and perhaps sexual in nature? Yes. And would you also agree with me that some of these messages in the dark gray that you sent to Mr. Fields are sexual in nature? Yes. Okay. Just so that we will keep them straight. These are marked 72 through 82. Okay. I think that is what I'm up to. Now I'm getting close to the end of my questions. Ms. Adkins, I am sure that you are glad to hear that. But the next set of documents that I have, I guess, will also be attached to your Rule 26, and they begin on 0. I will have to go get my glasses on. Are you done with these? Yes, I am. Thank you. Now these next ones I want to ask you about. Yeah, give us a second. I am making you nervous with all these papers. Okay. Do you have those in front of you? I do. Can you tell me what these documents are? Text messages between me and Ben. All right. You gave me a number earlier. So just so I will know, it looks like the earlier ones that we talked about, they cover a time period from June 21 to maybe January of 22. Is that right? Yes. Are you sure about that? No, let me double check here. No, it's fine. I'm not trying to trick you. I'm just going by what is on the document. Until January 28th, 18th. Yep. So these records that you are saying that are text messages that will, I guess, I think that we are Exhibit 7. These are messages between you all. Yes. And to the best of your knowledge, do they fairly and accurately represent any messages that you sent to Mr. Fields? Yes. In other words, you reviewed them prior to today. Yes. They are. I will just show you on the screen here. You see the kind of format they are in, where it will have the date, time, have your name, Mr. Fields marked on them. Do you know how they came to be in the format that we are seeing here? No. Do you know if they came from the phone company in this format or if they were typed in by somebody? I have no idea. Okay. Other than these text records, which will be Exhibit 7, and the Facebook Messenger messages that we have marked as 6, are you aware of any other written record or of messages between yourself and Mr. Fields? No, sir. Mr. Williams. All right, ma'am. I think that is all the questions that I have for right now. These other attorneys will probably have some for you, Ms. Baxter. Just so that I'm clear, Exhibit 7, that is correct. All right, that's the direct examination. Y'all, I'm killed already. Our line of questioning is a strategy. You should hear how some people question, talk to people. It's awful. It's a part of technique, strategy for some. Absolutely. Hang on, y'all. I'm going to go get me something to drink. I'll be right back. Give me just a second. All right. So, what do you guys think about the direct examination? I'm really, really surprised at her work experience. She seemed to have a whole lot. I mean, maybe not a whole lot, but she worked at KSP. She worked at the Pike County Detention Center. And what are the takeaways that we learned on that direct examination? We learned that she got hooked. She had a doctor. She had a couple injuries. And a doctor was prescribing them to her like crazy. All right. So I wonder how many more pages we got. Oh Lord, you guys, we're just halfway through. I think we're gonna stop on. I think I'm gonna just do the direct examination tonight, and then we will do the cross examination tomorrow night. We lost Sweet Tater, didn't we? It's absolutely surprising. I'm surprised. So, but we did, so I had somebody send me an email and they said that Stacey Yates was living with Sabrina Adkins. Yesterday they sent me that email and I didn't know how to confirm that. So I didn't really know for sure on that. So by this confirms it. Her testimony confirms that. So she was living with this Stacey Yates and they were both in drug court. Or yeah, they were both in drug, or he was in drug court. I don't know if she was or not, but he was. And she said that he told Robbie. Now remember, if you read Mickey's deposition with us, Robbie and Judge Kraft come over to the sheriff's department and apologize to Mickey for not telling them sooner. And he really didn't give much detail after that. If you noticed, after he kind of let the cat out of the bag about the drug court thing, and I'm wondering, why are there not more people in this civil suit? I just wonder, why aren't there more people in this civil suit? I know that I'm no lawyer, remember. And I know I heard Ned say in his interview that the reason why they didn't name Judge Mullins in the suit was because they have to file lawsuits with good faith, in good faith. But I still don't see how that would be not in good faith. You know, it's not like there's not plenty enough here. And why aren't they in? It's not like they don't have names of other women who apparently had relations with Ben Fields. It just shocks me that it seems like they have not done any investigating, any real investigate. I mean, who does these investigations? Who's responsible for doing a complete and thorough investigation? Because I don't think any of that was done. In Mickey's deposition, he says that when he found out about all this, when he learned from the reporter on the phone that the suit had been filed, he said that he took all of his stuff and sent it to the KSP, the Kentucky State Police, and said, here, this is what I've got. I need you guys to come and investigate this in my department. And they declined to investigate. They declined to investigate because they said they were too close to his department. They declined it, wouldn't do it. Tell me how in the world, if they declined to investigate Ben because they were too close to it, why couldn't they have referred that to another post? Why couldn't they refer that to another KSP post that wasn't so close to him? But no, they didn't do that either. If there was such a conflict that they did not feel comfortable to investigate Ben in the sheriff's department committing these crimes. How in the world are they not conflicted with Mickey and Kevin's case? That makes zero sense. Zero. Great big goose egg. I can't believe that. Blows me away. Lori, I wonder how many women did report it and nothing was done. Well, and if you remember, what we did learn out of Mickey's deposition was there really was no way for anybody to report anything. They had to report it verbally, face to face with Mickey. And then Mickey says, well, then I tell them that they have to put it in writing and see if they really do. And apparently nobody ever has. Not one person has ever put a complaint in writing. Well, we know why. Because it's in such an impossible, there's no procedure. There's no, unless they send them to the county attorney, and then you're going to Jamie Hatton's office, and he's notorious for allegedly kicking people out of his office. If he don't like what you got to say, bye-bye. And they're so biased on the side of law enforcement, just like Ben swearing out that warrant on Sabrina for escape. That's just unbelievable. She was in jail for all those months, and then she testified in this that she kept contact with him daily. So that means not only was his wife over her when she was in jail, if she was on drug court, his sister was over her. On house arrest, he was over her. And then he kept in contact with her on her phone every day, or messenger or whatever, daily. And then every week she had to go in and either pay her money or pay with a little something. And I want to do the math on that. So one of the things that Mickey said in his deposition was when he was working for the ankle monitor company, they didn't even have a bank account. And so I guess what was he doing? Sending cash through the mail? Or did you have to go meet them somewhere and give them a big cash envelope? I don't understand that. But so they get $25 per hookup. Ben gets $25 for everybody he hooks up. That initial hookup, $25 per person. Then he gets a commission of $3 every day per person that is on house arrest. Well, that's an incentive for them. And did you hear Sabrina? She'd been to ARC 4 or 5 times. How much Medicaid money did they get out of her insurance at ARC? Just unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. So $85 a week is what they had to pay for their house arrest. Well, the worker, and that's how much the defendant has to pay, $85 a week. $3 a day is Ben's take of that. So 3 times 7 is 21. So that's what? You got 85, 21, 64. So Ben gets 21 a week then per person. And the ankle monitor company then gets 64 a week. I won't do my math on that. So, well, but you have how many people do you have? I'm going to do the math on this, and I'm going to break it out. I'm going to look at it and see, because in Mickey's deposition, the lawyer asked him if he made as much as Ben did, because Ben had reported, I think it was either 2020 or 2021, that he made over $30,000. And it would fluctuate depending on how many house arrest people that they had. And now Mickey said he got paid once a month at the end of the month. And I think that's what Ben said too. So they would get paid once at the end of the month. Well, like I said, that provides them all an incentive. And she said that she tried to go the right route when she didn't know, or when she knew she wasn't going to be able to pay for her ankle monitor. So there was no process in place before they were ever even released from jail to make sure that they can afford it and pay for it. So it seems like it's kind of like, as long as they say, yeah, oh yeah, I can pay it. Well, we're going to go ahead and let them out, put them out. As long as they have that first hookup fee, that first initial payment that they have to pay at the hookup, as long as they have that, they let them out. Which, I don't want to make it harder for people to get out. Lord have mercy. Don't think I'm being critical of that, but there just needs to be a better system. They ought to have a female with females that are on house arrest, a female supervisor for them, and have a male supervisor for the men. That would be a very good, smart first step. Or it doesn't even have to be a first step. Man, oh man, oh man. And the different arcs. So what are they getting for referrals or kickbacks? That might be under the table money to keep the people flowing in. And you got to remember, Judge Mullins had Michael Clark right there in the courtroom. He was right there in the little smoker's lounge where they would hang out all the time. Every single time I ever went down there, it was Bert Sloan, the jailer. It was Kevin Mullins. It was dummy here, Ben, Jason Eccles, you name it, all the bigwigs would all, and Michael Clark. Every time, just all of them down there in the smoke room. And it was kind of like their little lounge, and they'd laugh. They'd be in there laughing and cutting up. Now, used to, the smoking room was downstairs in the jail. Like when they first started smoking in there, I remember they were trying to make it non-smoking completely, and every time you go down there, you'd see Judge Mullins and Judge Kraft out on the sidewalk. Well, you didn't see Judge Kraft as much as what you saw Judge Mullins, but he was always out on the sidewalk smoking. And I would say, I mean, this is just, I'm assuming it started to get winter time and he didn't want to go outside and smoke in the cold. So, the next thing you know, they were down there in this little room in the basement, and every time they would open it, smoke would just billow out the door. I mean, it's like everybody in there was smoking, had just put out 5 cigarettes each. Smoke everywhere. Looked like they was having them a big poker game right there in the basement. And then the next time I went down there, I noticed that they had moved it upstairs. So the judge wasn't, he used to go down and hide in the basement in that room. And then he just, I don't know what they did, but next thing you know, they were smoking upstairs in that room next to his chambers. And, you know, they ran that courthouse. The judges run that courthouse. And everybody down there, I mean, it's like Gossip Central. It's Gossip Central. It's the biggest, messiest bunch of backstabbing and talking about each other and just awful. You know, one thing about me, everybody knows where I stand. I don't go talking behind somebody's back, and then when I see them in the store, be like, "Hi, honey, how you doing? Oh, I know. Don't you pay no attention to none of them people." No, everybody knows where I stand on this stuff. You know, we should not be to expect our officials to have a little bit of decency. You know, so many people that stay in them circles are just unbelievably just, I mean, you can't make this stuff up, you guys. If you look at any court situation, you do not see any law enforcement or lawyer investigate a judge. It's like they are untouchable. How many judges do really know that has been charged in a crime? Not many, Terry. Not many. I have to start from the beginning and rewatch. I'm so behind. When I get home from office tomorrow, I'm having to go through and replay live streams. Well, your seat is always saved. Now, how does anyone not see how Sheriff Stine had reason to be afraid on the way to jail? I was wondering, do you think there are intimidating the witness through the deposition transcript? Is that the vibe you're getting? Well, you know, that's what I was asking. Yeah, I thought they were, I thought this guy was just really distasteful in the beginning of it, the way he was speaking to her and stuff. But I wasn't real impressed with the Kentucky Attorney General's detective, the way that he spoke to her either. Look here, Miss Jessica, it's because they are full of shit, Elizabeth. They can pick and choose. Oh, we already read that one. I can't see any of these when I'm reading the thing, y'all. We had the nicest guy that would do our video depots years ago when I was at a dental malpractice law office. He was so patient, and the senior partner was so mean. played evil. That happens a lot. They play good cop, bad cop. So Ivy, also, she has to tell the truth because this is the softball. The defense will come harder, and if the prosecution does not address her issues, the defense will. Yeah, remember that was the direct exam. Holy crap. Tomorrow is going to be the cross-examination, and this is what's going to get worse. It'll get a lot worse, I bet. Christy, no, you cannot refuse or lie. If you do, you are in contempt and can be jailed or fined. That's right. And I wondered if having Dotson there at Mickey's wasn't intimidating for him. They say, I've heard that they were real close, Mickey and Dotson, that they were real good friends, which by itself should tell people something. I never really thought about that until just now. That just kind of dawned on me. Like, duh. Birds of a feather flock together, y'all. It's sure the truth. I mean, do you hang out with people that you don't have anything in common with? Are you like, I don't know, even your work, even at work, even with your coworkers. I've had coworkers whose noses were stuck so far up in the air that I wasn't even in their class to be friends with, But down there, I mean, you usually will find somebody that you work with that you can kind of us against the world, even if it's just the two of you. It's miserable being at a job where you don't fit in with nobody. But what it looks to me like, the law enforcement departments around here, which we already knew this, it's all a boys' club. But it's like it's a fraternity, They're all immature. They're all childish. They're grudge holders, power hungry. There are very few that I can think of. I went to school with a boy who just went into Kentucky State Police, and he was just one of the best young fellers that I had ever met as a policeman. Jarrett Fields, I think, was his name. He was a young guy, and he was just so like kind, and he was polite, and I couldn't see him ever sending a text message like that with coworkers, like naked pics and stuff like that. I couldn't see him doing it. But, people will surprise you. I bet there's a lot of people that would say I couldn't see Ben Fields doing any of that. I couldn't see Mickey doing any of that. But that little Field, I don't know if I'm sure he probably ain't related to Ben, but heck, he could be. I don't know. But I really liked him. And I used to tell him all the time he was going to do this world a whole lot of good. And I hope he has. And then we have this female school resource officer that I really like. There's just not a whole lot of them out there that will help you. Like when you call them, they ain't really coming. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get off on that little tangent. All right, y'all. We've been on here almost 3 hours. Butterfly kisses. I have a feeling Ben still preys on other women, just in different situations and locations. Zebras don't change their stripes. And all of these people are still in their positions, or they've went on to better positions. I don't think anybody really had any negative consequences out of any of this except for Ben. And what negative consequences did he get? I mean, other than everybody knowing what he did now, and it's kind of blew up. But he only had to stay in jail for 6 months, and he had to go on the registry. And I think he's on probation for several years, which you know as well as I do. Nobody will do a thing. He probably don't even get checked on. But his consequences weren't much. The defendant, the county, does need to know the details of how she's been damaged, but the public doesn't have a right to know her medical details. These parts should have been redacted from FOIA. They didn't redact anything. It don't look like. My guess is a lot of women will be remaining in the woodworks. Yeah, because look at what let's address the Lee's comment. Her medical stuff is part of this lawsuit. You know, I know it sucks. But it is part of this lawsuit. Her addiction issues and, you know, her being in jail and stuff, you know, that's part of this. That's part of the victimization is not the right word. But it's like part of the victim profile, maybe is a better explanation. These are the kind of women, well, no, scratch that. They're the ones that are in jail. These are crimes of opportunity, period. They're crimes of opportunity. And whoever was in that jail who was going to be let out on house arrest is who was at risk. And I guarantee you, if they was to go back far enough and actually look and actually go talk to these people, they could pull every bit of those records, did they? When they investigated Ben criminally, did they go pull all those records and see how many women he supervised in house arrest, under house arrest? Did they talk to him? Did they question him? Because it wasn't in the report. If they did, was not in the report. Didn't say that they did a subpoena on drug court records or house arrest records. I don't think they did any of that kind of stuff. And then you got this state agency. See, like that district attorney general that was on STS was with us the other night when I went on that show. He just kept, like, I could tell he has a really hard time believing or even comprehending that there would be a whole circle, that there would be a whole bunch of people that were behaving, even if they're not all behaving the same way. They're at least turning a blind eye to the ones that are, and they're aware of it. If they're having poker parties every week, if they're treating each other like they're family and they're brothers, and we're going to come and hang out at each other's houses, and we're going to have barbecues, and, you know, we're going to do all this stuff together. You know, they knew. There's no way they didn't. No way they didn't. Mm-mm. You know they heard the rumors. If people just in the county heard the rumors, you know they heard the rumors. They had to have. All right, y'all. I'm wore out. Come be with us in the morning. We are going to do day 3 of the trial, the Twisted Secrets trial that we're working on now. We'll do that tomorrow, and I think we're going to be caught up by Monday. I know we will be. And then tomorrow evening, we'll do this cross-examination for Sabrina. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you got a gifted membership, make sure you reach out and tell her thank you. And thank you, LS. God bless you all. Miss Christy, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Trish. All right, y'all. See you in the morning. Be here or be something. Be there or be square. Peace out, Girl Scout. All right, y'all. Sleep well. Stay blessed. Bye.